Good evening and welcome everybody. How are we all doing on this Sunday night? It's the live from the potting shed. We probably should just close that door, but the dog is out there and we're not sure how she's going to react. Because obviously, as you can see, Amanda's with me tonight.
Yes.
She's hope you're going to speak loud because the microphone's there.
Sorry, I'm trying to get in the shot, really.
Well, I told her before we started what to do.
Oh my god, I didn't realise we were getting this close.
Yeah, I know. Anybody would think we're married. So what are we doing today? Today we are going to be. I want to find out how often you water your plants and when you water your plants, as that was a question that came up. And I think we're going to be pricking out some plant seedlings as well. What else? Oh, we'll go through what I've been up to over this last week, which is quite a bit to get through. But first, let's see if anybody is actually out there. And yes, there are people out there. We've got Adrian, who's out there moderating on the YouTube channel. Hello, Adrian. Hope you are well. We've got Ballycillian. Good evening, Richard and Adrian. Philly SPB. Hello, everyone. Hello to you. Looks like Philly and SPB had a great time on the allotment today. Turbo Streamers joined. Good evening, Veg Army. Good evening to you. Let's see, what else have we got? Who else have we got? Hargrave Gas, good evening to you. What a gorgeous weather. Got loads done in the last few days. Oh, yes, we have. Jenny Hullett, good evening to you. Hope you've all had a wonderful day. It's been a fantastic day. Fantastic weekend, to say the least. Anna Jones, evening gardeners. Hello, Richard. Hope you had a nice birthday. Yes, it was a lovely birthday. Thank you very much. Get into that in a moment. Somebody in a Facebook group is saying good evening. Unfortunately, if you're watching in a Facebook group, I may not see who you are, just the way Facebook works. You may or not see any comments or whatever. Just let me know who you are at the end of your comment, just to make my life a little bit easier. But please do keep joining in the chat. Stuart Jackson, evening, Richard. Hope you had a great birthday in the garden allotment. We certainly did. Who else? Nicola Cornish Heaven. Evening all. What a lovely day for gardening. It has been that indeed. Adrian says happy birthday for yesterday. Thank you. Hello, Amanda from Anna Jones. Hello. Adrian also says hello.
Hello.
And somebody in the Facebook group, good evening, Veg Army, and great to see you, Amanda. Stuart also says evening, Amanda.
Hello.
Rebecca, good evening to you. Hope you are well. The dogs just came in. Chi Arnold, hello both. Hello to you. Graham Arnold, evening all. Good evening to you. Digwell, I'm here but working on a video. Be here properly in 10 minutes. We will let you go then, Digwell. Hello to Margaret and Dad. Hello, lovely to see you.
And she's gone.
And the dog's gone. We weren't sure how she was going to react. If she comes in, we keep trying to get her on camera because everyone wants to see her, I'm sure. Turbo Stream. This week I've been mainly preparing the plot before I go on holiday, strimming the grass and sowing seeds in my outdoor seed beds. Charles Richardson, hello to you. Rebecca is lots of cake emojis. Indeed. So, please do keep commenting. But what have I been up to over this last week? Obviously, you'll hear more about this in the podcast tomorrow, which is actually all edited, only just. I'll get into that in a minute. And uploaded, and I'm scheduling it because we're going away for a couple of days once we finish this show. You didn't know about that, did you?
I don't think I would have announced it on live, but okay.
It's right. So Friday, we'll start on Friday. Oh, during the week, actually, every night, Roxy and I have walked down to the allotment, only spending 20 minutes, half hour on the allotment, doing a bit of weeding, a bit of watering, and just doing a little bit often. And it's really working for us, I've got to say, especially because Roxy needs a walk, of course, my little puppy, who might be coming on camera. She's going to go investigate. She needs walking, so it ties the two things up together quite nicely. Friday, I actually ended up taking the day off work, so I went down. I popped down the allotment, took a few things down the allotment, but I spent quite a bit of time outside, sowing seeds, pricking out plants, and they're having an argument out there now, and just enjoying the day off and the sun. Yesterday, Yesterday it was my birthday, and what we actually had planned, if Amanda was joining, because it was a really good day, we had a party on the allotment. Basically, I invited anybody that wanted to see me down onto my allotment. We had um, Dad and Margaret was there who were watching. We had other members of my family and friends come along. A bit later on in the day, we had cake and nibbles, and um, it was a good fun. We the dogs were happy. We got quite a bit of tidying up done on the allotment. My stepdad came down and showed me how to cut glass, ready for preparing the greenhouse and fixing the greenhouse, which I'm really pleased to get on and do. So yeah, really productive and good day yesterday. And then today, I haven't done much today, just a bit of potting up and pricking out and sowing seeds again. I was, because we're going away, trying to get ready for the show, trying to get tomorrow's podcast ready, which all went wrong at the last minute, as you can imagine, technology does. But I've got it done, uploaded, so I'm going to schedule that, so I haven't got to worry about that. And for those in the supporters club, I've got to do a supporters club once we finish and get it all done. Is she not coming in, or is she being a pain?
She's digging holes.
Oh, that's
She's
normal.
trying to dig the
That's
toilet.
normal. So Chi is asking, what's your dog's name? Can she be coaxed on cam with snacks?
She's digging a hole at the moment.
She's digging a hole. Her name's Roxy. She doesn't like coming in this shed for some reason. When she was younger, she used to come in here on her crate, and I think that might be why she doesn't like coming in here. But we're going to work on it. She is only a puppy after all, so it takes time. Charles is growing beetroot. We've got to sow some beetroot soon, actually. That's going to go in. Toby Stream says, note for admin, I'm not here for 2 weeks. Northumberland and Scotland bound in my camper van. Oh, very nice. Very nice. Whereabouts in Scotland are you going to? Because I can recommend going to some nice gardens in Dumfries and Galloway. And I can't remember what it's called. It's the National Scotland's Botanical Gardens. We went there.
Castle Kennedy.
No, the other one.
Oh.
I can't. I've got a video on it, but I can't remember what it's called. Somebody in a Facebook. Oh, it's Alison. Hello, Alison. Hello, everyone. I've been busy rearranging the garden. My husband has built a greenhouse, so I'm busy filling it. Fantastic. Yeah, we're getting ready for our second greenhouse on the allotment, which will give us 3 greenhouses in total. So always good to have some greenhouses. Dan Holmes, I heard you had a decent labour on Saturday.
Yeah, we did.
We did.
Very
we did,
good.
but he missed bits.
I think they should come back again.
Yes. So for those that don't understand, Dan Holmes is my brother-in-law. He was out there with the strimmer and the mower. He does a really good job at strimming and mowing the grass areas. So it was good for him to do that. I also prepared my home seedlings for my holiday, thankfully for capillary mattering and a northwest windowsill. That always does worry me going away we're going away for 2 nights, so it's not a problem for us. But any longer than that, I'll always worry about the plants. Probably the wrong thing to worry about. Julia has joined. Good evening, Richard, Turbo, Adrian, and everyone. Oh, and a lovely Amanda. Good evening to you. Where are you going on holiday? Only New Forest. Not far. Beatrice has joined. Good evening to you. Hope you are well. Adrian is saying hello to Julia Harley. Kate Spratt has joined. This week I had Friday off and was in skip guard duty for the allotment. The committee asked for volunteers to ensure it wasn't overfilled and folks out pot the wrong stuff in. But then I carried on with preparing the veg beds. Sadly, had to stay home today to wait for a plumber. We've got pictures coming up of your skip duty a little bit later. It must be nice to have a skip on the allotment. We don't ever have one.
Be nice to have a skip.
Be nice to have a skip, she says. Dan Holmes is saying missed, and hello, lovely Julia to Charles. So yeah, let us know what you've been up to in your own allotments, your own gardens over this last week. It's been a busy. I think this weather at the moment is just absolutely fantastic, and it's nice to go out and enjoy the sun, enjoy our gardens for what they're meant to do. Turbo String goes to photograph the remote scenery, so nowhere near Dumfries or Galloway. Not decided, but the West Coast is always a draw. Well, I can highly recommend going to Port Patrick if you want some stunning views. And Richard Golden has joined. Hello to you. I hope you are well. Right. What should we do first? Shall we? I'm going to... that's it. Anna Jones. Logan Gardens, Stranois. That's it. Yes, Logan Gardens. That was the garden in Scotland that we went to. Logan. I can't believe we forgot the name because we were with a child called Logan. That's the one. Yes, Stranois. That is exactly it. I made a video on it on the YouTube channel if anybody does want to go and look at it. Did you hear that? Jenny completely rejigged the garden today. Growing area much better and garden polytunnel finally finished. All planned for organic, wildlife friendly, no chemicals or potions, lots of companion plants. That's lovely, isn't it? Lovely. I think we said last week we rejigged our garden, moving the chickens out of the way. And I think that's been the right thing to do, especially when we get a bigger run for them.
So I'm very distracted by
the dog. Been busy potting on plants all week, but the last 2 days been out of action. Start a sunflower competition for our children in our village, from Stuart Jackson. I'm guessing if you've been out of action for the last 2 days, you haven't been selling any of your plants, because I was going to ask for an update. Let us know. Not just Green Fingers UK blog. Lisa, hello. Hi, all been planting mange trois today.
Love it.
Mange too. Oh, no.
I like your post version.
Mange trois.
Excuse me.
Sometimes I read it before I know what it is. She sowed the veg supporter French beans 2 weeks ago and forgot about them as I've been so busy with work. They live, so I watered them. Those French beans are looking really good. I've got to say, ours are... when did I sow ours? They're quite recently, but I'm looking forward to seeing how they go. They sound really interesting. At the top of my head, the name has slipped me. Stay at home. It was my birthday too, Richard, on Tuesday. Happy birthday for Tuesday. Driving back from Sussex on birthday, brought some shallow boot trays from IKEA for plants, £2.50. Bargain. Right. Now, what we're asking today is what time of the day and how often do you water your plants?
I don't.
She doesn't. She really doesn't. She really doesn't. Before I moved in with her, she had these plants that just never watered, and it was literally like dust in the ground.
Oh,
I don't know how the plant survived.
The only thing I water is the peace lily.
You water your peace lily. I even pot plants on the windowsill for her to easy do. She never does it.
I didn't know that's why you did that. Oh.
It's not why I do it. Just it see if you do it. But no. What I try and encourage you to do, if you have a jug of water for ironing, you tend to pour that water down the drain that you haven't used.
No, I put it in the dog bowl.
Oh, in a dog bowl. Or when you empty the dog bowl, pour that into the plants instead of down the drain.
You usually just wait until they need to top up.
Yeah, fair enough.
I'm not gardening.
She's not a garden person, which is always amusing when you bring her in. But this has been a debate, or not so much a debate, but something I think a lot of people has often asked is when is the best time to water their plants? And what I tend to stick with the rule. So what I've been doing this week is my home plot, I water in the morning. I tend to fill my watering cans up at night because it can be a bit noisy, well, the night before, I should say. And then in the morning before I go to work, I'm out there watering them.
Are you?
Yes, I know. You don't pay any attention to what I do. Just before I go to walk. That way they get a good drink throughout the day. The trouble with, I find, more in the summer, when you water in the mornings, that water can evaporate, which is usually why I like to water at night. That's what I've always done in the past. With Roxy, it's slightly harder to do what I used to do a lot now. On the allotment, because we're going down there in the evening, again, we're watering in the evening. So it's at the cooler part of the day, so the water isn't evaporating. And I find it just works for us. But a lot of it is about when you are available to water.
Never.
Never, she says. And there are a lot of people that will say it's no point watering overnight in a greenhouse, for example, because it creates a too humid environment, and that can cause damage to the plants. I don't buy into that myself, because it could happen in nature. So over to you guys. Let us know what you are thinking about that. So Turbo Stream is saying, hopefully my seed beds works. There are a few Brussels sprout seedlings though, and the first showing of onions. I will photograph it on my return. That would be lovely. And thank you very much for your email yesterday as well. Hopefully you got my reply. Hargrave Gas. I've been sowing peas and gutters this week, and also was excited to get my first veg grower supporter seeds in pots germinating already. He's one of my new members. So
Excellent.
Yeah, shush. Yeah, that's good. We're getting the next month's ready. We're posting those out this week. We're doing them in advance this time as well to hopefully get to you on time. For those that don't know, I run a supporters club mainly for the podcast, but also goes on to this. Details are on the veggrowerpodcast.co.uk if anybody is interested. Kate Spratt, I water either early morning or later evening. I'm going to experiment with various drip water types on the allotment soon to see how that goes. Well, actually, that reminds me, in my home greenhouse, what I have done is set up a drip feeder in there to water my plants every 3 hours. Just drips a little bit of water, not a huge amount, but just a little bit. And I only set that up last year, and I've got to say it did work a lot better. And none of my plants struggled or got too hot and dry. It did work a lot better. But there's not so much a trouble with it, as long as you make sure the water butt has always got plenty of water. It's probably a bird. Ballycillian. I only water plot heavily on a Sunday morning unless we have a long dry spell. I like the roots to go deep in search of water, which makes for a stronger plant. You know, that's something I've also always thought, certainly as we get later on in the year. When I plant my younger plants, I try and water them daily, but as they get stronger and bigger, I do want their roots to go down lower. So I do try and only water them once a day unless we get dry periods. That being said, again, we get with our coastal climate we have here, it can be very dry quite easily. We get some strong winds, very blowy, which has a drying effect on the ground as well. Nicola, I prefer to water really early, but can be any time, especially if they are parched. Yeah, good point. If plants are parched and the ground is dry, it just needs watering regardless. Not just green, Lisa, not just Green Fingers UK blog. I water when I plant, but other than that, I hardly ever water unless my plants are in pots, greenhouse, or polytunnel, and my veg turns out well. Except celeriac, which I give a good watering twice a week when it's in the ground. Celeriac and celery both like lots of water, as do blueberries for that matter. And you've actually hit upon something that is a very good point. Pots, I find, dry out a lot quicker. Greenhouses dry out a lot quicker. Polytunnels and obviously dry out a lot quicker. And they do tend, I find, to need a lot more watering. Just realised, having pots, if anybody wants to call in, the phone line is open, and I will just quickly add the link in the comments if anybody wants to zap in as well. Let's just do that. There we go. So the link's going up in the comments if you do want to zap yourself in and appear on screen, or failing that, call on 07307 135 174. Turbo Stream, I water my onions on Saturday afternoon, but I water when I am on the plot. No set time, so they get watered when they get watered. I think that's probably where a lot of people do, in all honesty. I think, it's a bit like when we were training the dog, something the dog trainer said to us is don't have a routine because life doesn't have a routine. You know,
in this house.
it's certainly don't in this house. And you know, in the summer when I'm busy at work, I may not get down to the allotment all week, so it does become difficult to water. And if, as we said earlier, plants that are shallow rooted because they've had lots of or regular watering, if they've got less watering and their roots are going down deep to search for water, it makes for better plants, and it also disrupts that routine problem. So they're not so reliant on that daily watering. I think that's a very good point. Do you understand that as a non-gardener, Amanda?
If you water them, you water them. If you don't, you don't. But if you don't, potentially you can get better plants.
Yeah. Okay. Happy birthday for Tuesday to Nicola. Thank you, Adrian. I seldom need to water the allotments apart from new plants. One of the bonuses of no dig. Again, that is a very good point. No dig does help, and I'm a big believer in using mulches and everything else. Also, we are on a real hard clay soil, which does really hold on to water in the winter, and become the summer becomes like concrete. But plants can generally break through that if they're in early enough and the ground is covered. But it does reduce the amount of watering that we have to do sometimes. Oh, I think anyway. If we don't get stuck in the mud, that is, as well. I water first thing in the morning or last thing at night. Hot days, I mulch after watering to hold water in. Wool matting that comes in food delivery, etc., also works well. Wool matting that comes in food delivery.
You don't really get food delivery.
No, I know, but I've worked in a lot of kitchens and I can't think of what wool matting is. So I'd be, Jenny, if you let us know what you mean by wool matting, I'd be very interested to find out. Tapestry, my allotment is hopefully planned so the crops can look after themselves. I think that's always the best way. Always the best way, I believe. One reason for no greenhouse polytunnel is I don't want to be tied to watering things all the time. That's a good point. That's where my drip water that I have in my greenhouse at home, takes care of that for me. But also what I do on the allotment greenhouse is I've built my wicking beds, which are basically plastic containers with a hole about an inch up from the bottom on the side of the container instead of on the bottom, and that just creates a water reservoir underneath that the roots can then go and find. I find that to be a much more reliable way of keeping plants in a greenhouse on the allotment watered. I've only done it for the first time last year, and it's based on the veggie pod, and it has worked really well. That I'm continuing to use that very same method. I thought you were going to say something there. Jenny, I have to water daily as I grow 99% of my food in pots and containers. That's something I'm learning, actually. I mean, when we had our first garden, her house, I should say,
His garden.
my garden, we had a lot, I'd had a lot in pots. We had this little strip down the side that I did grow veg in the ground, but because it was such a small garden and we had to use it for so many different things, I had a lot in pots just so we could move them. And I'm doing the same with the balcony garden and the patio garden and the front garden here. I've grown lots in pots, although they do need a lot more watering. You were helping me with the front garden the other day, weren't you?
That's because it involved hacking.
Yeah, she likes to hack things. Digwell, I watched a fella water his plot the other day, start to finish, 5 minutes. He did more harm than good. Yeah, that's just a sprinkling of water, isn't it? It's not really giving anything a good watering. It takes me a good hour to completely water my allotment, which is why I only do bits one day and then I'll move on to the following day to break it up. It does take a long time. Anna Jones, I always try to water outside before and after expected windy spell. Wind can dry the soil very quickly in spring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we were on the allotment yesterday, it was pretty
it was warm, but very windy.
It was warm, but very, very windy. And one of our, we actually had I set up a toilet tent. So anybody that was there had a toilet to use, and that kept getting blown over. It was so windy. But I did notice that not just the soil was drying out quite quickly, but also our skin. That was drying out quite quickly. I don't moisturize or anything, but
You might start.
I might have to start doing it if it gets windy. Mark Burgess, hello, mate. Can you overwater aloe vera, Richard? Yes, you can, is my answer to that.
I think I did that.
Yeah, what can happen with any plant? Aloe vera is a particularly drought tolerant plant, so it's more susceptible to this. But any plant that's overwatered, the water can basically rot the roots because they're too wet, too damp, and a plant with no roots is going to cause problems. So with aloe vera, what actually is probably the best way is to just stick the aloe vera plant in a saucer of water once a day and let water soak up into the compost. That way it's free draining. Then take it out the saucer, only put it in for a couple of minutes, take it out, put it back in the pot. Go on.
Oh, I didn't do any of that.
No, I know.
I do that with the peace lily. That must be why the aloe vera died.
That's why your aloe vera died. Yeah.
Another one.
I put all my pots in dishes, so hopefully that reminds me to water when I need to. That's a good point, actually, when it comes to pots, and something I'm doing with the balcony garden, patio garden, is that we are putting our pots in trays to give a saucer of water, a collection of water, to stop them from drying out. But what I've got to keep an eye on is that the roots don't rot out from the bottom, as just expressed with the aloe vera. Money Boots has joined. Good evening. Hope you are well. Lovely to see you. And Sean James Cameron, happy birthday for yesterday, and to you as well. We share the same birthday. Also,
people do.
My nan's birthday as well, wasn't it? Charles's grown pak choy, fantastic. Do like pak choy. Pak choy did really well on the veggie pod, I've got to say, when we grew it in there.
Especially with that recipe I made with it.
Well, the green Thai curry. That one.
Thai noodle soup.
Thai noodle soup, yeah. Toby Stream. If I do water, I get a good soaking like yesterday. No more water for a fortnight unless it rains. I totally agree with that. A good soaking. This is, as I say, I've broken my allotment down. I'll probably do 2 beds one day, give them a good soaking, then move on to the next 2 beds the following day. Just because it's easy to try and manage, I find, anyway. At school, I have to stop the children watering as they love a watering can. I can certainly believe that. Money Boots says, get plenty of humus into the soil. It holds onto water. And yeah, I always say a lot of, if you can get hold of something like horse manure, a lot of organic matter, get out into the soil, it becomes like a sponge. It just holds onto the water. Even better if you had a mulch over it to shade it out. All these things go a long way to really reducing the amount of water than you need to do, but more importantly, produce really good, strong plants. It always makes me laugh when you hear or read in certain garden books, they say moisture retentive but free draining, which to me, they sound a bit, for non-gardeners like yourself, you give them that look.
You want me to do both, but what's the point? Which one do I actually want me to do?
Well, you've actually hit on exactly the point that I say with this. Is that
I not want it to keep the water, but then I also don't want it to create a flood.
Exactly that.
So
exactly
what do I do?
that. So think of a sponge.
Yeah.
You stick a sponge in the water, you lift it out, and all that water drains out.
So that's the free draining.
That's the free draining. But then when you squeeze it, there's more water into it that isn't coming out unless it's squeezed. So that's the moisture retentive. This is why I love having a non-gardener in here from time to time to go through these.
Yeah, I think I'll stick
Quite
with my abandoned buildings.
Yeah. Sean uses the wall matting for lining the walls of the shed, and the cat loves to sleep on a few sheets too.
Where is everybody getting this wall matting
Yeah.
from?
Some food companies like Gusto use wall matting for insulation around the. Oh yes, now you said ice pack. When we used to have our meat delivery, especially during lockdown.
No, the only time we did it.
Well, the only time we did it was during lockdown. It did get that wall matting around it. Yes, now around the ice pack. Yes, I can see exactly what you're saying now. I can picture it there.
I have considered using a delivery service, but I haven't discussed that with you, and I wonder if they do that batting.
We will discuss that at a later date. I'm planning to make a wicking bed for my patio lettuce at home. Do it. The wicking bed for me has been a great way to save onto a lot of water. Charles is asking if Amanda has a double chin. No, it's just
No,
the
I've got a
shadow
scarf.
from the lights. You got a scarf?
I've got a scarf on.
Oh,
as well.
scarf. It's also the shadow from the lights.
I didn't have a double chin this morning.
No, it's just the way the lights are. I probably need a third light to shine from underneath. We have a caller. That's a good start. I'm going to be the only one that can talk. Hello, caller. What's your name and where you're calling from?
Hello, Richard. It's Nicola in Cornwall.
Hello, Nicola. And how are you today?
Yeah, getting there slowly.
Getting there slowly. Happy birthday for Tuesday.
And the same to you for yesterday.
Thank you.
I think I've said to you before that I grow my potatoes in tubs, which a lot of people do. And then I've used DPM plastic damp proof to make a long tray because it's got like, I don't know, 15, 20 tubs in it.
Mm-hmm.
And normally I water that, but then they can be standing in water if I've overwatered or it rains heavily, because it does that from time to time in Cornwall.
Yeah.
So my latest thought is, and it would be nice to have other people's views. I've got plenty of wood chip because I've had loads of trees felled, and a byproduct of that is I've got mountains of it. I've got about, I don't know, 6 ton of it, I think. I was thinking of putting the wood chip inside the DPM tray.
Yeah.
So that it absorbs some of the water.
Yeah.
But the potato still had, because a lot of people bury their potato tubs down into the ground so they can then put their roots out to get moisture and feed from the soil. Well, I can't really do that here because of all that lovely arsenic I've got.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if I can do that, or will the wood chip be detrimental, because obviously it will still nutrients, but I just want it as a water retainer rather than a feed, because I've got feed in their tub. So can I leave that one with you and your views and everything else?
Yeah, well, I'll throw that out to the audience. Would wood chip, because Amanda can't hear this, would wood chip act as a sponge, is what you're looking at doing it in a tray?
Yes, but you use it for permaculture, don't you? When you put it in the bottom of the bed, you put your logs and your wood chip, and then you put your cuttings and stuff.
That's exactly what I was going to say. Hugelkultur is a method where you have wood on the bottom that you then cover with compost, and the wood acts as a sponge. So, in my opinion, based on that, it should work, your idea.
And I just thought it would reduce the amount of neat water, like your sponge thing that you just went on about.
Yeah.
It would make it less wet, if that makes sense, even though it's the same amount of water.
Yeah, yeah. It acts like a sponge, but doesn't flood it.
Well, yeah, it's going to have more air pockets, and hopefully as the roots go out, it's not sitting in too much water.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
anyway, lovely to chat, and I'll carry on listening while I munch my tea.
Lovely. All the best. Thank you very much for calling in.
All right. Cheers, Richard.
Take care. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye. Bye. So that was Nicola. You didn't hear a word of that. Asking whether wood chip in the bottom of a trays would work. I think it would, personally, based on Hugelkultur. Hugel, it's a German word. Hugelkulture, if anybody wants to look it up. That's impressive, I know that, isn't it? Rebecca, can't believe my water butts are empty already. It's been so dry. I'm having to get some more water butts. It's just where to pot them. Oh, God, there's always somewhere. There's always some. And what I actually tend to do is have a water butt in the corner of a plot that I can then use or pump water into if I can't get it anywhere near the guttering. Like behind here, I've got four water butts all in a line, but all 4 of those are filled up. But over in the corner of the patio, there's 2 more water butts, nowhere near the downpipe, which I pump water into when the other pots are full, just to try and maximise it. Hope that makes sense. There's always somewhere that you can squeeze it in. Now, somebody, I'm guessing this is Sean because it says London, has jumped in with a lovely view of a garden.
Hello, I just thought I would show you the matting. So you get 2 of these sheets per
Yeah.
per box, like that. So it's
Oh, I
quite a
see.
big sheet.
Yeah.
And I have a load of them in my shed to line the shed.
Right. Oh, it's like an insulation.
Yes, and the cats love to go to sleep on these in the
Yeah.
summer, in the winter.
Yeah, I can see Roxy shredding that up as well.
But it's quite a big sheet,
That's
and you
huge.
get 2.
That is huge, and that comes from food delivered.
So I just thought I would show you.
But, yeah, no, that's giving me a better idea of what I'm looking at, because that does, to me, look like Rockwool insulation in some ways that you would find in your loft. And it makes sense that I would use it for food deliveries. So
And there's a quick shot of the garden there.
lovely, lovely.
There you go.
Yeah, that's
All the
great.
best.
Thank you. And happy birthday to you for yesterday as well.
Yes, happy birthday to you. The sound's a bit low. I'm finding it quite difficult to hear you, but that could be because I'm outside and that it's windy.
I was going to say my sound's not at the normal levels. I've not adjusted anything, so it should be okay.
So, anyway, I'm going to go inside now to have a nice cup of tea.
Lovely. All the best. Thank you very much for that, Sean.
Bye for now.
Take care. Bye. There we go. That's given us a good idea of what we are looking at. That is quite wasteful if it's not used properly, isn't it?
I suppose it depends if people do actually get rid of it appropriately.
Yeah, I mean, we're terrible. We try and recycle everything that we come across, don't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Including the cup I broke the other day.
yeah. Cut them all met into fit your pots or beds. A small slit up the middle so you can tuck it up around the stem. I like that stuff. I can see that being in the bottom of the pot as well.
We'll discuss that delivery thing later then.
Yeah, we'll discuss that later. Thank you very much, Mark. Jenny Hunnett. I have large plastic bins in the garden dotted around. I decant water into them and then dunk my can into the water where needed. Yeah, I mean, this is what I tend to do. Scatter water butts all over the place. When they're full, I also fill up all my watering cans and water and buckets so that there's more room if we do get a shower in the water butts to fit more water. Basically, my watering cans are constantly full, if that makes sense.
I have been known to run outside and get buckets out there if it's a really good downpour.
Yeah, I don't know if you could hear that. She said, say it again, dear.
I have been.
She has run outside with buckets when it's rained to catch any of the rain whenever it's happened.
Yeah.
It just makes sense to me to catch as much rainwater as possible. Unfortunately, my allotment, we're only allowed 2 water butts per plot.
What?
Yeah, it's just a stupid rule because we have water pump there, but we're only allowed 2 water butts, 220 litre water butts per plot.
What does that have to do with it? If you're just collecting it from the sky?
I have no idea. Absolutely no idea why that rule is in place.
I understand a barbecue rule, but I don't understand a water rule.
No, I'm totally with you on that. I think the wood chip would work. This will help as we are going to another dry week ahead. Yeah, I think it would help. I think it would work as well. And Jenny, sheep fleece is as cheap as chips from farmers. Give it a wash, then pull it apart to mulch. Farmers are happy to sell as I give more than the wool buyers, plus slugs hate it. Yeah, I know that they sell wool for less than what it costs them to produce effectively now. You're thinking of...
Are you thinking we have a rocking sheep with fleece on it?
We have a rocking sheep with fleece on it.
Just about on it.
It's Amanda's childhood toy that we seem to be unable to get rid of at the moment.
that needs to be repaired. But in the meantime, I mean, it would need a whole new fleece anyway.
Yeah. Now we have been sent a video. Shall we have a quick look at this video, which came in from Philly, or was it Ballycillian? Ballycillian. So I can't remember now. I'm sorry. I've had a busy day, so we'll show you it and go from there.
Hello, Richard. Excuse me. I believe the night show's about patting on, so here's just a wee video about how I do it. For me, patting on starts from transferring the seed from the seed packet to make it grow. So to start off, scattering the seed tray, covered up, waiting germination. Phase 1. And the next phase will be when it comes to pricking out and patting on. To me, the trick is you don't want to put them in too large a pot when you're patting on, because when you're watering from the bottom, the more compost is brew into the container. There's only a wee seedling, it'll drown. So when it comes out of the tray, it'll all but transplanted into something like this, very small, plenty of room for root development. But there's only a certain amount of water will be absorbed to keep the plant happy. That'll be the end of phase 2. In phase 3, we'll go into this larger one. These is tomato plants that's going to be potted on today. As you can see, the roots are coming to the bottom. But that stays lovely and moist, just enough water to keep them going. And then there's one more potting on stage. So once again, they're roughly about 2–2.5 inches square. So they'll be potted on a day into 3-inch pots. And again, watered from the bottom, there'll just be enough water brought in to keep these happy. After this here, they'll just go out into the final position. So there's roughly 3 to 4 different potting on stages. It's not just as simple as taking a seedling out and putting it in a big pot. That'll not work.
What a fantastic video. I've got to say, those tomato seedlings looked really nice and healthy. Very, very interesting in how they are looking. Very interesting, that's the wrong word to use. Very impressed with how they are looking.
I was impressed with the whole setup. So organised.
Yeah, no. Obviously, you haven't seen many of the videos that they send in, but their allotment is always so well organised. Absolutely fantastic to see. Kind of puts me to shame because I'm the most disorganised person you ever meet.
That's not true.
I'm pretty disorganised at times. Just, or how shall I phrase this? I'm too busy to be organised, and if I was organised, I'd be less busy. I think that's probably the right way to phrase it. What a ridiculous rule about water butts. On my allotment, we are very lucky to use hose pipes. We're not allowed hose pipes. We've got dipping troughs, but we're only two. I don't know.
There are rules on the dipping troughs I found out yesterday.
You're not allowed to wash anything in it.
No, you're not allowed to use the water to wash anything with.
Yeah, that's because the council doesn't want to because they're open, birds drink from there, animals poop in there. The council doesn't want to be responsible for anybody so I try and get my head above that.
Oh, oopsie, used that
yesterday. Yeah, the council doesn't want to be responsible for anybody getting ill because they're open to the elements. And also there's because we've known one of our neighbours who washed his paintbrushes in that water trough, and everyone's water in the water trough.
No, I took the water out.
Yeah, that would be the sensible thing to do, but it's not unknown for gardeners to do that. Wash their stuff in that water trough and leave contaminants in the water for everybody else. For example, if you had a red can for a watering can, they had weed killer in, and then you plunged that into there. That weed killer could get into the water and therefore could kill your plants. That's the theory.
But they're just silly people.
That's the rule on the water butts, washing wire. Money Bits, does anyone use water retaining gel crystals in hanging baskets?
Is that stuff?
Yes. No, you're thinking of Sleeker gel.
Yeah.
No. Water retaining gels. Yes, I do use them. Or I used to in my hanging baskets and pots to hold on to water. But I think what I'm doing now is adding nappies, the cotton wool in nappies into hanging baskets, obviously covering it round with compost. And that seems to work quite well at holding on to water as well. We've got a dog behind us.
No, she just gone.
Oh, she's gone again.
She's gone with a snack.
Yeah. Rebecca says that plot was looking good. It certainly was. We're encouraged to have many water butts on our plot, but as the water is metered, that makes sense to me. I haven't used gel crystals as I reuse all my compost, but I have friends who do, and they always have a nice display. I'm always worried about the gel crystals if they are biological or they're going to cause some harm further down the line. I'm getting like that. I find myself questioning everything I use these days. Those look like very good cell trays. Indeed, they do. Nice one, Bally, again. Thank you. You're just creative, Richard. I think that's I am creative. Is Adrian moderating? Yes, I believe he is. I think, yeah. I send him in on behalf of Ballycine Allotment Man and the Brains, and let him be the front man. Just we are cousins, lots beside each other's plots. Yeah. So yeah, that's Philly behind the camera and Ballycillian on the plot, and Philly sends them to me. That's I sometimes get a bit confused. It's a joint effort. I've used gel crystals in the past as well. I'm thinking what you're thinking, and someone needs booting out. Okay, from Grove Veg. Yes, I do. Muddy Boots allotment, they are free from Severn Trent water.
What is?
Oh, the gel crystals.
Really?
Get them free from Severn Trent. Yeah. I don't think we get them free here. I use the gel crystals in my hanging basket, Muddy Boots, from Beatrice, sorry. Stuart, I use water pellets in hanging baskets and tubs. There we go.
Different to crystals.
Same sort of thing. They're
I'm
just
checking.
different.
I'm a lay person.
On our allotments, every plot has a mains water tap, but I prefer rainwater at the seed and seedling stage. Yeah, I got to admit, I prefer mains water at the seed stage, but then I just spray that on with a sprayer. Once they're outside, I feel they're okay to get rainwater. Once they're a bit stronger. Free PMED does. Yeah. Kate also gets free gel crystals from Severn Trent.
Do you have to be with Severn Trent water?
I believe the stuff in nappies is the same stuff.
You buy nappies?
I've done, yeah. Yeah. I use them in the garden. I think probably hid them from you because it's probably a weird thing to find.
Yeah.
I threw a handful of gem crystals in when I plant potatoes. So, yeah, a lot of you people using gel crystals there. You don't use them, then, do you?
No, I use crystals, but not those type of crystals.
Yeah, I think this is a way of trying to reduce the amount of watering that we have to do, of course.
But retaining the water.
Retaining. It's that free draining yet moisture retentive phrase. I always think for non-gardeners is always so confusing because they're a bit of a, what's the word, oxymoron? Is that the right? No.
My brain's gone somewhere completely different with this conversation of crystals and wood chips.
Yeah.
I'm now thinking of the Oak Island water pit because they used at the bottom coconut matting and it kept a lot of water in it. So you see, I'm thinking about water retention now.
Coconut matting?
Yeah, remember on Oak Island when they dug that water pit and they kept finding coconut matting?
Right.
It seemed to keep the water. It didn't help with finding the buried treasure. Slightly off topic here.
Right.
But the coconut matting helped keep everything wet.
Okay, interesting. I didn't know that. On that note, just like to ask everybody if they can give us a like if you're enjoying the show, like, a thumbs up, subscribe, click the bell notification so you get notified every time we go live.
He goes live.
I go live, not her. I'm just saying we as a general we because we're all part of a big club here, I think. Community. Club. I prefer club than community.
I prefer cult, but there we
go. You would. I know I say that every show, but if I don't say it, Facebook and YouTube tell me off for not saying it. So there you go. So Sean says, what crystals do you have? I have some Moldavite,
Moldavite.
but that could be another show. That could be another show.
Oh, I have lots of crystals.
Yeah,
But moonstone is currently my favourite.
yeah. Hargrave guess. I take my hanging baskets down when we go away to get a watering from a sprinkler on a timer. May have to try crystals as well. Yeah, I mean, well, we don't really go away. Well, we haven't for the last couple of years. When was the last time we went away? Was that Canada about 4 years ago? Must have been. Oh no, we went to Scotland.
Oh, wait, yeah, and then
For a
I've
week.
been since.
Yeah.
But not with you.
No. That's probably a week, and I've got to admit, our hanging baskets, I tend to move them into somewhere shady when we go away, but they do seem to last, especially with the nappies, which probably the most randomest thing, but it works. It does work.
Could be a conversation to be having later.
Yeah. The cheaper nappies have sheets of plastic in them, so be aware on hanging baskets you can put old towels in the bottom. Excuse me, done it in the past. We've got loads of old towels we could use.
No, we don't. I got rid of them.
Oh, okay. We don't have loads of old towels. Ian McCorgan, lovely to see you, Ian. I've got to get in touch with you and pop over at some point.
Oh,
Colt is Richard are the high priest of the veg. I like that, high priest of the veg. What will you do when you come to Cornwall? I'm not worried. I mean, we could probably ask our neighbour to come and water the garden anyway.
We have people who can see things out.
Yeah. It's not bad at all. Jenny Hullett, I do place a pot or planter under each hanging basket so the runoff waters the plot below. I like that idea. I like that idea a lot.
I'm trying to get the dog in.
Yeah, no, I do like that idea a lot, to catch as much as you can. It just seems to try and save as much water. It's same as a veggie pod, actually. That when you overfill, not I've ever overfilled it, it has a runoff, and I try and catch all that water. Time for a swig of coffee. I have also been sent some photos, which should we go through the photos quickly? I've had to very quickly do them because my computer decided to play around or play games with us this evening, right when I was trying to get everything done, so we were ready to go. It didn't work quite. Sorry. So this first photo comes from Stuart Jackson, and he says his little garden helper, lovely little robin redbreast, pops down into his garden to help with the plots. I haven't seen we used to have a robin in our garden all the time. I haven't seen him for a while.
Yeah, isn't that because the ivy's gone?
It might be because the ivy's gone, but I've put up robin homes, so we'll have to keep an eye. I'll have to try and put more homes up and try and get the garden.
Well, you've also got Roxy, who does like saying hello to birds.
Yeah, she does chase them. This one came from Jenny, and it was a bargain buy. £3 in, I think it was a garden centre. She brought these dahlias for much better than buying the tubers from a certain supermarket or high street shop, shall we say. Works out much cheaper. I think they look great, actually.
I only thought she'd bought the entire table for £3. I was like, wow.
No, those dahlias. £3 is a bargain. I've got to say, I'm always looking in the bargain corners at garden centres. Richard Golden sent this one. This is an interesting idea. As you can see, he's put some tomato seedlings inside a banana, and he's asking, he had a bit of free time, so he probably was a bit bored and tried this out. Does anybody think it would work? I've heard of people putting other plants in, I'm trying to think what it was, in other things to get them to root. So would the banana work? I don't know. I'm intrigued to find out. Let us know how it goes, Richard. This one comes in from, I can't read my handwriting there.
Billy.
Billy?
That's what it says. Billy Tulip. Oh, Bally Tulips.
Oh, yeah, Ballycillian, sorry.
Gosh, you're right.
Yeah, sorry. I scribbled it down. I was stressed when I was doing this. From these collection of beautiful looking plants, aren't they? I do like tulips, which I can't believe is a veg grower I'm saying. But I mean, we have the odd few tulips and daffodils, but they look beautiful. They're in flower, are they, as well?
I only know the things that I like come up, and the names are escaping. Peonies.
Peonies, yeah. This comes in from Kate. Her allotment is looking really good. She
Wow.
transformed it. It's looking really nice and tidy. But she mentioned earlier she was on skip duty.
I could have filmed it.
Could have easily filled it. I got to admit, I think allotments that have skips, I mean, our allotment has this rule: if you vacate the plot, everything has to go. And I think that's why we don't get many skips down there. But a skip would be useful once in a while, because there's always things that you can't get rid of, and it's not so easy to get to a tip anymore. Well,
not here anyway.
Not here anyway. So there we go. Please do keep posting your photos in our Facebook group, or you can send them to me via email, richard@theveggrowerpodcast.co.uk, or via social media. Nicholas says, Alan Titchmarsh used old natural wool jumpers to line hanging baskets. That makes a lot of sense.
You don't have any of those.
No, I was just thinking the same sort of thing. Wool jumpers tend to last for quite a while as well,
I can't wear
from memory.
It's itchy.
Yeah, Ian says, if you want to come and camp in the field as Mr. Vobes, we might take that up on that offer one day.
Do I get to play with the tractor?
Interesting question. If anybody knows, if anybody's seen Vobes, the Bald Explorer's recent video where he went camping in the field, this is the Ian whose field it was.
Well, if anything Julia can do, I can do too.
Bellyson thinks, yes, okay.
They've sorted out some issues.
Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry.
And Dave apparently is praying for rain.
Yeah, don't worry.
Scroll
That's
further
fine.
down.
There we go. So Dave Ford, like praying for rain here in Dorset.
Could we wait a few days, please?
Could we wait a few days? Sorry, Dave. Sorry, we're heading down to Dorset. So whereabouts in Dorset are you? Remind me, please, Dave.
Just that Roxy doesn't do wet weather.
No, our dog doesn't do. And Ian says, yes, okay, to driving the tractor. There we
Woo!
go.
Never driven a tractor.
Oh, you're in for that. I assume that's what you're saying. Yes, okay for that.
Well, it is now. I'm taking it. Yes.
Yeah. Right. Now, the other thing we were going to do today was to prick out some seedlings. I think somebody was asking about that last week, according to my notes. So you gave me a puzzled look there, or was that just me being you? So what I've got, let's bring. Oh, let me get rid of that. Oh, I haven't set it up properly. I told you everything was a bit of a rush. Normally I get rid of all that stuff. Not to worry. So these are what I've started using over the last couple of years to prick my plants out. They create these sort of, let me bring it up to this camera so you can see how deep they are. They're like they create little root plug plants, as I like to call them. Now I could sow my seeds directly into there, but I feel that takes up a lot of room. So I tend to use these containers here to sow my seeds. Now these, I've got to admit, they were in the propagator for a little bit too long. You know how it is when you know you've got a week off, you put everything off until then, and some of the leaves just got a bit too damp. Luckily they're only the seed leaves, so they should be okay once they are pricked out. This is going to work because Amanda's here and she probably doesn't know this terminology for pricking out, so this is going to be.
I have one question already.
Go for it.
Why are there two sets of trays?
Because I couldn't get the bottom one out.
Oh, I thought it was some technical thing to make it stronger.
No. So what I like to do, got the this is well, no, it's a label, and I tend to find that I use that quite nicely. On this, I've marked it with a 13. Now, I've actually used a pen that was sent to me by Digwell Green Fingers, Steve, which is proven to be very good at lasting on these white labels. So really, really pleased. Thank you very much for that, Steve. I really appreciated that. What I tend to do, I go in and I try and get it underneath a plant as much as I possibly can to try and tease the roots up. Now, as anybody will tell you, you never pull a plant by the stem. You always pull it by the root, by the leaf. Otherwise, it could break.
Get the puppy.
And there we go. We got that one out quite easily. Let me bring it up.
That's got good roots.
So you can see it's got some good roots on that, despite the leaves being a little bit dodgy. But there we go. And then I go into one of these. This I have watered earlier. It probably could do with another watering. But you get the idea. And then I go straight into that. And I'm using this white label as a dibber. That's in. And there we go. That's that one pricked out and ready to go.
I've
just got to
realised
repeat
why
it.
I don't do this.
I've got to repeat it with all those. Although, to be honest, I think I just wanted to finish off the pack of seeds in that case.
You've got to be very delicate with that. That's not my forte there.
No. Right. Charity shops always get donated damaged clothing. If you want wool jumpers, maybe go in and ask. I should put that on silent, sorry. Mine keeps damaged vintage clothes for me from wool. Yeah, I'm using that as a modem.
I was putting it silent.
Okay. Plough off. Amanda versus Julia.
I'm going to have one go first, though. That's not fair. I've seen her run it.
We could use some rain too, not too much low from Turbo Stream. I agree. Grey Veg. It's been boiling here all weekend in Lincolnshire. I'm going to post some images of my setup for all you to see in the group after live. Please do. And I'll try and show that next week as well. Rebecca, rain during the night and sunny warm days would suit me. I totally agree with that. Unless I'm working late at night, then I don't want it to rain because it's never fun. Julia says, plough off. Amanda, the tractor is immensely fun.
Excellent.
This is going to be, sorry, I just hit the microphone.
We might have to video it then.
Yeah. In the Midlands, we seem to get weeks of dry weather and weeks of rain. Been happening for a couple of years now. I think we're going to be in for a sudden deluge of rain. And I think it's going to have a sudden deluge, a lot of rain.
A sun?
Sudden.
Oh, I thought you said sun.
No, you're hearing things. Me and wife heading to the Entry and Flower Show next Sunday. Looking forward to it, but we'll be home for your show. Well, yeah, excellent.
That's commitment.
Yeah. I remember last year when we went to Bewley, we were knackered afterwards. Actually, I'm going to Bewley on Friday for the spring fair. Sorry. So, going to be talking about that next week, I would imagine. When in Dorset, if you like a good farm shop, Washingpool Farm Shop is good, and for a meal, also Pilsden Pen and Indy and a fab view.
Might depend if they accept Rurus.
Yeah, I mean, maybe we've got the dog. We're only going pretty much tomorrow, really.
We're going to test it.
Yeah. Julia, Richard needs to use a horse-drawn plough on that field.
Interesting.
Yeah. Digwell says, told you they were good pens. They are good pens. I'm actually genuinely really impressed with them. Works better than using an old dinner fork, Richard. Well, the yard labels, yes. The reason I started using these labels is because I always have them. Because I've always, as soon as I sow seeds or before I sow a seed, I stick a label in it so I know what it is before I've even sown the seed. So to me, these are always just there and they just work.
They're everywhere.
They're everywhere. They are everywhere.
Away because they've annoyed me.
Pilsden Pen near with a fab view. There we go. Was that for us, Amanda, or is she yours? Was that for us or Amanda? Or is she your assistant in the garden? What was that? What did I say? Amanda, did you see the video before with the cabin in the woods?
Yes, I did.
Yes, she's interested in that.
Yes, for my little sideline.
Yeah.
I
Nicholas,
promise I'll go in properly as well.
Nicholas saying K. It's International Dandelion Day today. Has everyone been nice to Les? Not a fan myself. Yes, I heard it was National Dandelion Day. And I got to say, I know dandelion gets a bit of a bad rap. They are pretty nasty weed after all. But they also do a lot of good things. A couple of years ago, when we were on furlough, when I was on furlough, I should say, because she was still working, although she was working from home. So I had to leave the house every day so she had some peace and quiet. But I picked a load of dandelion flowers and made dandelion honey, which is like a vegan honey. Basically, you don't need the bees. I can't remember how I did it. It was put the dandelions in hot water and then add a load of sugar or something like that. It was pretty easy to make, but it did taste of honey. Do you remember?
Vaguely.
I was genuinely impressed with it. And also, one of my favourite fizzy drinks, Dandelion and Burdock.
You had it yesterday?
Had it yesterday. I know it's quite an old-fashioned drink, but it's pretty tasty, I think, anyway. So I think dandelions get a bad rap. Also, they're good for bees. They're very good for the bees who are searching for nectar at the moment. I use a broken dibber that comes with a magazine for pricking out. Yeah, I mean, whatever works. I just, as I say, I use the labels because I know they're always there. The potting on demo. Amanda was watching very carefully. There was somebody who asked last week how it was done, but she ain't ever going to do it. She would. When we were, I'll give an example of how violent she can be.
I don't think that's a quite word to use.
No, it's the right word because people will understand this. When we were clearing out the meadow herb garden / orchard area, she's in there with the choppers and clearing it all out. I happened to go indoors for a minute to do something. I come out and my sage plant has lost all its branches.
I didn't realise it was a sage plant. Oh, and then I had to go at the bay leaves.
And she had to go at the bay leaves at the front. And luckily, it was easy.
We're drying those now.
We're drying those, same as the sage. We're drying. No, we're not drying because I couldn't find them. They're probably underneath, gone in the lawnmower or something.
Let's be honest. If you want me to hack something, can do it. If you don't want it hacked, you need to tell me beforehand.
Yeah. Julia says dandelions are great. My tortoise Eric agrees. I agree. Dandelions are great. And Ian, I'm not digging out my dandelions or daisy for my lawn as it's good for the bees. I mean, I totally agree. Dandelion, daisies, they are great plants for the bees. Unfortunately, I know our allotment rules is we're not allowed to have any flowering weeds. And they start inspecting from the beginning of May. So if I've got any dandelions that are flowering, I get knocked down and a letter written to me that about weeds. And I think that's wrong. I think the dandelions should remain. I know they can be invasive. I know they can cause issues, but for the wildlife, at least, they are such a good thing.
But I thought the weeds is only a weed because it's just grown in the wrong place.
Yes,
so
you are right
there.
there.
Then you should be allowed to grow them on your allotment.
I agree. I do agree. I think I had horseradish growing, and they didn't like that at one point until I put a label saying it was horseradish, and then they recognised it. Recipe for dandelion honey. Ingredients: 4 cups of dandelion petals, 4 cups of water, 3 lemon slices, half a vanilla bean split in half, and half a cup of granulated sugar. That sounds about right, and I can't remember how you do it after that. I do remember. I'd dearly love to be using those horses. Indeed. So Amanda is a hacker then. Best way I reckon I do it too. Yeah, she's definitely a hacker.
Oh yeah,
definitely a hacker.
We hacked the bushes out the front. You left to make tea. 45 minutes later, you came back.
Yeah, it wasn't 45 minutes. That's a bit of an exaggeration. It was 44 minutes. I haven't taught her how to use a chainsaw yet either.
No, my dad asked why I didn't have the chainsaw, and I went because he's not stupid.
Yeah, there is a reason why. There is a reason why. Amanda Saggett, the plant murderer.
Yep.
Indeed. It would make a good video, Julia. Plant plough off. It does. Do they allow nettles? As you can use nettles to make great soup. Technically, they do. Sorry, I keep hitting the microphone. Technically, they do allow nettles as long as they don't flower. I mean, it's just crazy. No flowering weeds is a ridiculously stupid rule. You can eat dandelions, so how can they say that bloody stupid? And this is my argument. I mean, I really have got to join the committee and argue these things.
Oh, God. No, you don't have time for a committee.
True. But dandelion, in some ways I get it, because people don't want these weeds coming into their garden, their other allotment sites as well, allotment plots. But on the other hand, if I was growing dandelion and I wanted to grow dandelion, what's the harm? Stinging nettles or horseradish is another example. People mistake those for weeds when we're growing them. I think it's Shush. Kate, I've left all the dandelions on my plot. I love seeing the wildlife in them, and they have their own beauty. I totally agree with that. Totally agree with that. That's why, like I say, there's no harm in leaving them for the wildlife. Absolutely, Amanda. Shows how they don't understand the importance of wild plants for nature. It's council for you. I think the trouble is, I mean, what the council used to do, actually, I'll give them, she's chasing the birds. I'll give our council their due. Before the roadwork went on, all alongside the side of our plot, they had loads of wildflower patches that were pretty much just left to do it. It looks like they're starting to come back now. They had to plough them down for the roadworks, and when the fence was up, built a permanent fence now. So it looks like they are leaving it to come back, in theory, which will be good. So that kind of makes up for not having weeds on site. But at the same point, they're not doing what I think could be done.
Sorry, just having an argument with a pigeon.
Yeah. I told you there was a bird out there. I could tell by the way she was barking. I don't know if the microphone's picking her up. After the dandelion flower fades and the fluffy bits form, then I harvest them, cut the fluffy bit off with scissors, and leave it on the bird table as the birds love eating the seeds. This is a great idea.
You don't have a bird table.
No, but it's not hard to build one. Oliver, Mr. Oliver Hughes. I can never pronounce that. I'm going to call you by your correct name, Oliver Belusic. Hey, Nugget, I have 9 lemon trees that all grew from one pit. Could you recommend some plant food to help them grow? Hope you are doing well. Yes, you can go and get citrus plant food from a garden centre, which is, it can be pricey. It's quite small, but it'll probably be, especially if you've got limited space, actually, it'll probably be ideal for what you need. Failing that, if you grow them from a pit, you're going to be looking 5 to 10 years before they produce any fruit anyway. So you're probably going to want some high nitrogen stuff for the time being, just to try and build it. They take a while.
That's a long time.
It is a long time. It is a long time. That's the same with apple seeds as well. It takes up to 10 years for them to produce. That's why you don't tend to buy apple seeds. You buy apple trees. Don't worry, Amanda. My fiance asked if she could help in the garden 10 years ago. I showed her the main bed in the front of the house and asked her to weed. I
did well with weeding yesterday.
Oh, and we got following on from that. Bare soil, plants, bushes, everything gone. Yeah.
Give clear instructions.
So this is how we make dandelion honey. Margaret's on the job. Soak petals in cold water for 5 minutes to allow time for any insects to exit. Then drain. Place petals. Second stage. Place petals in a heavy saucepan along with water, lemon slices, and vanilla bean. Bring to a boil over high heat. Then reduce heat and simmer for 30 minutes. Remove pan from heat and let steep for 6 hours. Strain dandelion tea through a cheesecloth and discard the solids. Then place dandelion tea in a heavy saucepan and bring to a low boil. Gradually add the sugar to the boiling liquid while stirring until the sugar is dissolved. I can remember it was something like that. It sounds difficult. It really isn't. So anybody wants to make it, that's how you go and do it. There we go. So those mats could be made from matted sheep fleece. Adrian's, if I remember correctly, a sheep farmer, so he's probably got a good idea of the matted fleece there. There you go. That's a good idea.
Can't bring her in.
No, she don't come in. She don't come in. Jenny Hunnett, Premier Seeds Direct sell dandelion seeds. I only buy them to sow for the beads. I'll send your allotment group a letter. I've forgotten the next stage. Yeah, I wish the allotment. It's the council, not so much the allotment. I mean,
what do they know?
Well, exactly. I think there's a group that go around, but it is their land. Remember, it is their land, so you've got to live with it.
Yeah, they're not giving it to you for free.
No, I know. There was a last stage. Lower the heat and let simmer uncovered until it reaches a syrupy thickness. This may take about an hour. It will thicken more as it cools. Bottle when cool. I think I bottled it while it was still warm, like I do with jam jars. And then it create a vacuum. Not jam jars. Well, like I do when I'm making jam. Sorry.
Oh God, is that ours?
No, it's somebody else's. They've just set her off. Battered dandelion flowers are amazing, and many farmers will give it away. The matted sheep's fleece. So what we got outside at the moment, another dog is barking. It set our dog off. She's a very social dog, too social.
You social this morning, and that was with people.
Yeah, battered as in deep fried. Asking Jenny. What I was wondering as well. Battered. Indeed. Right, we've got just over 10 minutes to go tonight. If anybody does want to call in, it's 07307 135 174. The number is running across the bottom of the screen. Or if you want to zap yourself in, the link is going up in the comments. And I keep hitting that microphone. Apologies for that. Link is going up in the comments right now as well. Okay. I know. She's not normally like this. It's because she slept all day. She was so tired after yesterday.
She was exhausted.
Yeah. I can imagine that honey might be quite good for you. I tell you what, when I made it, it tasted just like honey. I was pleasantly surprised.
Ruru.
I've got to admit, I'm not normally into vegan foods in the way that I feel the vegan foods are there to replicate the foods that they can't eat, like corn to replicate bacon, yeah, that sort of thing. I just don't understand that myself, but I'm not a vegan, so I'm not going to say that. But I liked this dandelion honey, and I was genuinely impressed. I'm going to have to make some more this year, I think, because it was good. Julie wants to grow a fruit hedge. What do you suggest we pot in? Oh, lots of ideas of this fruit hedge or fruit border. My first thought was what I pot in on my allotment as a hedge. Elder tree, although they can get quite big. If you prune them regularly and keep them contained, you can get quite a nice hedge. Sloes, hawthorns, that sort of thing. Rowan berries as well. And then, of course, you can get into, it depends how much work you want to pot in, the espalier trees, such as apples, pears, cherries. A lot of work to keep them either espaliers or columnar trained, but worth it if you want a fruit hedge. There's so many, it's pretty much anything. Currants is something I would lean to. Currants and gooseberries as well. Especially gooseberries, thinking about it, because they've got that thorniness which acts as a good deterrent, something you'll hear on the podcast tomorrow. Yeah, pretty much anything you want. It depends on how much work needs to go or is wanted to go into this. Like I say, columnar fruit trees, I've seen at Westdean making like a hedge up against a wall where they're literally just a column of these fruit trees, but they're pruned really, really hard and a lot. They're a lot of work to maintain, but they do make a nice hedge and they produce fruit. Jenny says, yes, sorry, make a batter and fry in the frying pan, a bit like a mini pancake with flowers in it. Great with honey. Yeah, we do the same with elderflowers as well. Make elderflower in batter. That tastes really nice too. Grove Veg says, get a dog, they said. They're cute, they said. I have two, so I understand. She's been in trouble. She was awake because she was on the allotment with us yesterday and she stayed awake all day. She's been really docile all day today. And now, just as we come to our live show, she's woken up, of course. Oh, yeah. But it's because we're both in here as well, not indoors.
Fun tonight.
Yeah. Batter, not better. Oh, yeah, it did say better. I didn't see that. Sorry.
I think
We all read that. Fruit hedge, gooseberries, blackcurrants, red currants, indeed. Raspberries, etc. Yeah. Got to be careful with raspberries because they can grow in other places, such as our garden, where they pop up everywhere. Not so much of a hedge as fruit needs space. You've got to be imaginative. You can do it. It's called a fedge in some places, or a food forest in other places. It can be done, and it's something I do like to do, and certainly in our front garden, trying to get more fruit out there in pots, but kind of making a fruit hedge. And as I said, on my allotment, we were going for sloe berries, so I can make sloe gin, because people like my sloe gin. I've actually got a plant there, but it just never produced anything. Elder, which...
Yeah, but there's an entire place we can go picking sloes.
Yeah, I know. I've got an elder tree there, which I'm going to remove, actually, because it's just twisted and convoluted and grows everywhere. It looks horrible, but it does make quite a nice hedge if you maintain it. Do you have recommendations of plants to grow whilst living in a flat? It's not south-facing. Well, if you listen to my podcast, you'll hear about it turning your windowsill into an edible garden. But straight away, first thing I would do, herbs. Herbs you use in every meal. They're on your kitchen windowsill. You pick them, use them when you're cooking, and there you go. Other things, salad leaves, some dwarf tomato and chili plants would do well. Lemon trees, orange trees. I've got, if you really want to push your limits, ginger, turmeric, and cardamom growing on our windowsills as well. Pretty much anything you can imagine. Just got to remember they're going to be hard work there. You've got to water them regularly. We need you to come up with the vows for a video on planting a hedge. Yes, I'm waiting to hear about that and see what happens, because I've got lots of ideas as soon as I heard it for that. Fruit hedge, how about blackberries? It's another use, or tayberries is the other thing I'm thinking of, although tayberries can grow very, very big. They'll screen out a good 6-foot fence easy, but they do produce a lot of fruit. I have loads of wild ones and yummy with rhubarb in a crumble. Wild sloes or wild elderberries or blackberries? Yeah. Oh yeah. That's it. Yeah. This is for Oliver. Microgreens, salad leaves for windowsill. Yeah, microgreens, salad leaves. Lots of options there for a windowsill in a flat. There's no reason you can't grow your own food on a windowsill. For low hedge step over apples, if you can erect a wireframe for support. Kiwi fruit. Yeah, kiwi fruit, very tricky. I've grown it and I got it to produce a single kiwi fruit after a lot of trying. Tricky, need a lot of work. Do you have a balcony, Oliver? You could grow anything in pots if you did. I'm guessing as it's not south. I don't think he has, especially as it's not south-facing. But we'll find out.
Of a balcony.
Never heard. No. As I say, there's lots of ideas. As I'm doing this on the windowsill garden on the podcast, which, to be honest, it's pretty. What I'm finding with the windowsill garden is that I've sown the seeds a few weeks ago. I'm keeping it watered. I'm not really doing anything with it. It's very not much to talk about. I think is the way to describe it. She don't touch it, of course.
I don't even know what we're talking about.
Kitchen windowsill. You know, I said to keep hold of Roxy's plastic containers. Yeah.
Yeah, I've done my bit.
Yeah. That's what we're growing up there. I've just planted a bare root white currant. Looking forward to seeing it grow. Bare root white currant. This time of year, that's going to need a lot of watering. Keep a close eye on it. I love bare rooted fruit trees. I think they're the best way because you buy them generally late autumn, early winter, get them in the ground, and they establish so much easier over winter. But at this time of year, just make sure that soil doesn't dry out. It's so important. I've found over the years with that. Microgreens are so easy. I now sow most weeks. Exactly. I've always been a big promoter of microgreens for quite a while. I know they're not going to fill you up, but they're just a nice thing to have in your arsenal of growing fresh food in the smallest of spaces, I think, anyway. You've not really taken to the microgreens, have you?
I don't really know what to do with them.
Well, it's just like herbs. I mean, I think cress is probably the best example of a microgreen.
Oh, egg salad.
Egg salad, exactly. You grow cress on a windowsill. Actually, I should sow some of that. Throw it in with your egg salad sandwiches. Quick and easy. And probably a great one for Oliver as well. I'm going to have a swig of coffee. Do you want to talk for a minute?
About anything in particular? Because I literally know nothing about gardening.
And there we go. That was a minute. It's had a 24-hour soak. I water every day, so fingers crossed it will be okay. The peat-free compost does seem to hold the moisture well. This is talking about the bare-rooted white currant. That's a good sign then. That's a good sign if it holds on and watering every day. So it's quite unusual to see them being still available this late in the season, but if you can do it, great stuff. Please do keep us posted on how that turns out. A good mulch will help the white currant out, of course. Tiny tinned tomatoes would be ideal on a windowsill. Also peppers and chilies. There we go. You're going to look at, Oliver, you're going to be looking at dwarf tomatoes. Peppers and chilies will be fine on a windowsill as well. My white currant has loads of currants on already. I was noticing our red currants are actually also in the same sort of predicament. They're not ready to be harvested, of course, but they are producing, which is going to be good. Good. I like my red, white, and black currants. They're so tasty. Just don't get to eat them that often. Toby Stream is a convert onto microgreens. Another good one. I do think microgreens are underrated. I do believe that. I use radish, kale, etc. in cheese sandwich or garnish on soup. There you go, some things.
We need more kale because then we can make kale chips and then turn it into seaweed.
Yeah, well, I'm sowing kale next month. So that's something we do. Actually, yeah, that's the full size, not the microgreens kale. Full size kale leaves. What we did is picked them. We used the sort of long thin ones, picked them, chopped them, put them in the oven with a bit of olive oil, salt, and basically roasted them until they're nice and crisp. And it was like Chinese seaweed. Added a bit of sugar as well, if I remember correctly. Really nice, really nice. Bunny said, can't remember my kiwi's real name. Isu. I think it produces loads of smaller, very tasty fruit and hardy to the UK climate. Well, that's interesting. The kiwi I tried was called Jenny, which is the most popular one in the UK. So if you can find the real name out of it, Bally, I would be interested in giving that variety a try. Marshalls have loads of bare roots still available. I've got bare root pine berries as well. Pine berries are delicious. I grew pine berries a while back, and I find them difficult to locate. So pine berries, you don't know what pine berry is, do you? It looks like a strawberry, except it's white and tastes of pineapple.
Oh, I remember that now.
It's delicious, wasn't it? I really liked them.
No, my favourite is still those orange things that you grew, but you didn't grow them last year.
Cape gooseberries. Yeah, they are good. A garden in the kitchen is a great idea, although I might hold off until we move, as currently 4 of the lemon trees are on the windowsill. It should be fun to start a garden. I'm listening to all the ideas. I love gardening. I never knew that, Oliver.
No,
Never knew that. Even if it's a mini kitchen garden. Oliver, I have so many ideas for your mini kitchen garden. When you're next down, or I'll have a chat with your dad and I'll get a few ideas for you. Interesting. Oliver's New Zealand girlfriend has never had a kiwi. Interesting. I might grow microgreens as an alternative to brassicas going forward. I never liked cabbage as a mature plant. There we go. Wilco's have microgreen seeds for sale. Yes, they do. I prefer to use seeds that have gone out of date or old seeds. So yeah, great way to use up old seeds, in my opinion. Pack of 10 pine berries, Marshall have lots on offer. I will check them out and see what we got. But it is 7:30 now, so I'm going to wrap this up. Again, please do give us a thumbs up, a like, a subscribe, and a follow, and all that jazz. Next week, I'm going to be talking about our visit to Bewley. Hopefully, we're both going, and Roxy should have lots of photos. What I want to know from you guys next week is, have you been to any flower shows or gardens that you can visit that you can recommend. You'll hear more on that on the podcast tomorrow as well. I'm going to wrap this up for tonight. Let's just quickly clear off these comments. Stuart says, IKEA sell indoor gardens with 3 or 4 sections. That's the, yeah, I'll discuss that with Oliver as well. Ballycillian, I got you, Isu. Bite-sized fruit brought from DT Brown, but I'm sure others sell them. I will look into that as well. Tiber Stream says, thank you, Richard. We'll see you in a few weeks' time. Indeed, have a good trip for 2 weeks. Have a great evening, everyone. Have a great week ahead. Have a great time, guys. Indeed. I'm going to start wrapping this. I'm going to wrap this up now. Thanks so much for joining me. As I say, podcast out tomorrow. Supporters Club podcast will be out very soon. And we'll be back again 6 o'clock next Sunday, where we will do it again. Probably just be me on my own. Until next time, take care. And I haven't set myself up for closing. And make sure you all do lots of gardening. Take care. All the best.
Bye.